good evening, James, everyone else. My name's Derek Powell, and I'm the exclusive distributor for the NeuroTrader trading technology. And I've been trading for a while now, but I do find it's quite difficult to get consistent results, especially with live trading. So I'm really keen with the new technology here, and looking forward to getting to use it myself. I've not done so just yet, but we'll be doing so at some point. So anyway, we've got Lev with us tonight, and Lev's going to tell us all about his prop trading that he's been doing as well. So I'm really looking forward to hearing this as well. I'm very excited to have Lev with us. And I think right now I'd just like to pass it across to Lev and tell us what you've been doing, Lev.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Derek, for the amazing presentation. I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone a lot more. I know James with us today, and for anyone who's going to come in, that's going to be great. If not, this is going to be in the recording. I really, really hope, my goal today is that I can inspire at least one person the same way I was inspired when I heard about NeuroTrader. It's been an amazing experience, and of course I'm going to talk about how it all started. So thank you everyone who's going to listen to this or who's going to tune into this. So yeah, basically I'm 24 years old today. James, you're saying the sound of breaking. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, happy birthday.
Does it sound all right?
It sounds all right with me, Lev.
All right, sounds all right. So yeah, basically the story is that at 18 years old is how I started. I like telling this story because it's very irregular. When I started trading was when my friend at the time asked for my help for an oral presentation. And how it happened is that the subject it was on, well, it was on graphite. And at the time, graphite was this revolutionary thing in the industry about how it was more flexible than iron, how it was able to conduct electricity. And so through reading all that, I remember I simply clicked. I told my friend, listen, man, there's money to be made in here. That's literally the thing that clicked with me. So that got me into going on invest, what's it called, the website? I think it's called Investimonials or something like that. It's basically a resource for trading. And so I started reading up on all these things, and next thing you know, one thing leads to another. The 26th of January 2012, I still remember we invested $1,000 for 1,052 shares at $1.16, and 3 months later, we were up 3 times our money. So I bet at 18 years old, you know how that feels. You feel ecstatic, you feel amazed. I was simply I remember me and my friend went to the supermarket, and we grabbed some souvlaki's, and we're like, haha, you know what? We're gonna own a mansion, and so it was quite the experience because we were convinced that at the end of the year we'd be millionaires and we'd be making loads of money. And I'm sure you know how the story went. I got greedy, and I started going into the penny stocks, the sub penny stocks, you know, thinking, hey, if I can make that in 3 months, then maybe I can make that in a day, in a week. So that's when I started going into like the wild west of the stock market. And of course, I'm sure you know what happened. I blew it all, and blowing it all caused a huge, my friend, he was quick enough to withdraw a share when he was seeing that it wasn't really working properly, and that's understandable. And I decided to continue. And when I blew it all, this, of course, took a huge blow to my self-esteem. That's when I began to, doubt myself. I went to work for a bank as a customer service agent, got into a lot of debts. And then with all that debt, of course, I wasn't trading. I was thinking, oh, trading is not for me. At one point, I was in a very low point in my life where I told myself, listen, this can't go on. I can't be going on with debt like this. I actually got fired from my old job as well. And it so happened that desperate times calls for desperate measures. And when I started doing things that weren't exactly in line with who I was, I thought, this is it. I am never going back to that state again. I am going to work for every single dollar to repay it all. So I ended up repaying it all. And when I repaid it all, that's when it clicked. I said, and that was last year in 2016. Sorry, that was 2 years ago soon. No, actually, that was the 2016th of December, 2015. Yes, it's been already soon 2 years. Wow, time flies. And so that's when The Big Short came out. And by the way, great movie. If you guys haven't seen it, I recommend it dearly. I saw it 2 days ago. This movie is absolutely amazing. Watch it, just watch it. And so movie came out, and I tell myself, this is it. I am trading, and this time it's going to be for real. I don't want to go all over this back and forth again and doubting myself. And that's when, from reading all these self-help books, I'm sure a lot of you guys, as a trader, I realize we're all into developing ourselves, our self-awareness, how we are as people, right? And I'm sure you guys have read about how it's important to surround yourself with the right people. Well, that's what I did. And I went to this meetup group. I go into this meetup group. We click. It's an amazing atmosphere. The people are amazing. The atmosphere is amazing. And for the first time, we can talk about trading and not be getting any weird looks, because I'm sure you guys know how it is. Sometimes you talk about trading with either a friend or with family, and they're like, yeah, that's cool. So did you make money? And you're like, but that's not the point. It's the beauty of the trade. That's the point, right? So that's tough. But here it was in a group where we could talk about it, and that was amazing. The one thing leads to another. I asked the owner of this group, Houston Truong, amazing guy. I actually asked him, so could you be my mentor? And he said, no, listen, but I have something that will interest you. And that was in March 2016, so we're talking a bit more than a year now. There was this webinar presentation about Neuro Exchange, and there were words about in the event description about how it's going to be about peak performance. The same thing you're really reading today. Peak performance. It's going to be about athletes. It's going to be about developing yourself. It's revolutionary. So, of course, a lot of words that I was reading about, and that just resonated with me. I went to this webinar, I listened to it, and quite honestly, and I told Ken that many times now, and even today, sometimes it's a challenge, but a lot less now since it's a lot better now. But at first, a lot of the science I could not understand, not at all. But for some reason, it just clicked. And that's one thing I'll emphasize as well, is that when you hear about something and you may not understand it completely, it's very important to listen to that small voice that you have inside of you. Because the ego is strong. The ego is going to scream at you. It's going to tell you, oh, but don't do this. No one's ever succeeded in that. And that's the ego, because it wants to protect you. But if you got a small voice and you're listening to this presentation, or you're listening to anything else in life, and you got a small voice that says, this may make sense, listen to that voice. Listen to that voice, because that's what I decided to do. And that's when the journey began. So I started training at NeuroTrader the 1st of July 2016. And it was, I remember, Ken, I think it was the first or the second day, he told me, listen, Lev, in this process, you're going to learn to humble yourself. That's exactly what happened. I learned that we have to take total responsibility for what happens in the market. Some of us, and I'm guilty of that as well. I will sometimes, not now, but before, I would say, oh, the markets are crazy, the markets are chaotic, and it's insane, it's rigged, and it's a casino. How many times we heard about that? And so this process has been a lot of self-discovery and taking total responsibility. That's what psychophysiology is all about. It's about being self-aware of how your body's responding. I'm sure you guys can actually see the biodata window right now as I'm talking. You'll see there's the heart rate, the temperature, the skin conductance. We'll get to that in a few minutes. But essentially, these are just a visual support of how you are inside right now. And what happens is that when you trade, you get a lot of noise, right? You get one voice telling you, all right, well, go long. No, stupid, why did you go long? Now it's time to go short. And this self-talk that you're enduring inside of yourself, and that we all do, well, with psychophysiology, the beauty of it is that you start to diminish that and actually work with that instead of saying, oh, go away, I won't listen to that voice, because the more you resist something, the more it comes back to you. And sorry, guys, I'm just going to grab some of my papers here because I really want this to be yes, I really want this to be, this is my first webinar, so obviously, as you can understand, I'm quite stressed and quite inexperienced. And that's it. So what happened is that all through these 6 months, I started from being a losing consistent trader, so I was consistently losing, to getting out of the program with a 68% winning rate. What happened through all of this is that you learn how to, and I'll actually go on the PowerPoint as well. I don't know, Derek, if everyone can see it.
I can see PowerPoint, yeah.
But I'm gonna. These are my results. But this is it. What you learn with psychophysiology, it's not as much as a system. Many of us are looking for a system that's going to make us millionaires, billionaires, whatever, zillionaire. Well, that's not the purpose of NeuroTrader or of psychophysiology. What psychophysiology does is that it instills in you, because we all have the capacity of being self-disciplined. It's just a matter of habit. And so what psychophysiology does, it helps you regulate yourself. So you learn to trust yourself in the process. You learn to trust yourself in the process. You learn to follow a plan religiously. That means there's no more, should I take it, should I not take it? You're taking the shot no matter what. And what this does is that it creates a sense of trust. You learn to trust yourself. And by trusting yourself, over time, you become the trader you'd like to become. And through all this journey, after the 6 months, then it so happened that, well, life happens, met my ex-girlfriend, had a bit of a relationship there, but it still stayed. I still remain to the idea of taking one shot a week. And that's the important thing, is that, do you want to be a trader just for the sake of it like a hobby, or do you want to be a trader because this is what your life revolves around? And this is what psychophysiology teaches you, especially if you want to be a peak performing trader, is that trading is no more just work. It becomes your lifestyle. It becomes everything you do revolves around trading. It's not, yeah, I'm like this and then I do trading. No, trading, you could say, defines you. Who you are a person. You are a trader before you are anything else. And this is what psychophysiology teaches you. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to take on that mindset and that, okay, that's it, now I'm going to be a religious trader. Not at all. What it means is that if you want to become an 80% consistently profitable trader, and I'm still on that path as well, then it's a matter of creating that mindset. And Ken, thank you for that. Indeed, we are consistently what we do. So it all comes down to that. And that's what I learned during this 6 months. It's about carrying wood and chopping water every single day. So you take one shot a day. How many of you guys, or how many of us, I'll still do the same mistakes sometimes where I'll take more than one shot. But what this teaches you is that it's not a sprint. This is a marathon. And so you learn to regulate yourself. You learn to calm yourself down. You learn to take your time and to learn that less is more. And when I left my now ex-girlfriend, I had this thought, this inspiration, which said, listen, you got to go into a prop firm with this. And I knocked on FCL Trade door, and it so happened that the guys were eager to know more about what it is that we do. They said, I remember I came in Thursday, and then Monday, they're like, that's it. We want you to start. And that's when it started. And it's still in process. As of today, I'm still a break-even trader. It's been now only 3 months, so that's perfectly understandable. And even then, you are challenged because you're challenged to say, all right, so maybe you should take, the industry likes to do risk-reward ratios. We talk a lot about risk-reward. Oh, take a 5-to-1, take a 7-to-1. But the thing is, this may work for the short term, but what if you were able to pinpoint exactly the moment of entry angles every single time, or most of the time? Now, we're not perfect, we're human. And indeed, Ken, that's an excellent question. Working by myself instead of a team is, of course, very, very, very hard, because you're, again, dealing with yourself. But because of the training that I've gone through, I was able to refocus on myself. So every day it's the same routine. You got to build yourself a routine. And indeed, the way that they trade is what you'd expect out of Wolf of Wall Street, right? These guys, and I love them. Got to admit, you got to love the atmosphere. This is how the industry is, and the guys, even though sometimes it's very noisy, it's still the atmosphere that exists in the industry. So the guys are yelling. They're one thing that they do a lot is when it's with sort of an easy shot, they'll yell free money, and they'll be yelling it for at least 30 seconds, right? And so you can imagine the state when you're coming from psychophysiology, where it's all about being calm and focused, and then you got all this outside noise. Well, you can imagine that it's quite a challenge in itself. But it doesn't mean it's not possible. No, it's actually possible, very much so. I come in with my headphones, I'm concentrated, I do my trade, and I take my shot. And the guys at FCL, they're great, they're amazing people, and I'm convinced that whilst you may make some short-term gains with the way that they trade, if we want to become long-term, successful, consistent traders, we can't go up and down like this. You're watching my heart rate right now in the Biodata. If we can share the screen, is my screen being shared right now, Derek? Yeah. So as you can see right now, my Biodata, it's going up and down, and my heart rate, which is the red line, I'll go up with a price chart here. And so I'll just show you this for instance, I'll show you what most of us are breathing like. So most of the time, as you see, it's very irregular, it's very chaotic, and this is how we are most of the time. So you can imagine that when you trade and you're trading in this sort of state, this is reflected on your trading as well. So it's very up and down, very irregular. And give me a few moments, I'll get into a state where, well, you'll notice by yourself what's going to happen with the heart rate here. So there we go. I'm sure everyone can see the very nice curve that's happening in the heart rate right now. Now it's going to go back to being chaotic. But what I wanted to show with this very nice curve is that through your breathing, it demonstrates how you are inside. And so if, of course, your breathing is all over the place, then your trades are going to be all over the place. We're going to be taking multiple trades when we should only take one. We're going to be doing shots we shouldn't take. We're going to be going long when it's time to go short. And, mind you, it still happens to me. As a matter of fact, it happened even this morning. So it's not like you're going to become the next top trader in 6 months, a year, but it's very possible. I'm of the conviction that with psychophysiology, it is the only way that we are going to trade in the future, because with the trading that's being done right now, it's normal that a lot of people get, it becomes a very tough profession simply because there's so many ups and downs, and trading is one of the best professions in the world, because with trading, the turnover of traders at FCL, that's an excellent question, actually. We had a guy, a very nice guy. I hope that he gets to listen to this recording. But the turnover, I'm not exactly quite aware. But new guys come and go. New guys come and go, and that's very, just lately, a guy I was sitting next to now left the floor because it's understandable, it's tough. So that's a challenge, and that's at FCL. Now, oh, 100% in 12 months. I didn't even know that, Ken. That's interesting. So what I mean is that trading a FCL trade right now is a challenge because, and really anything is a challenge, because here you are wanting to be focused and calm, and what this does is put you into what we call the zone. I'm sure every one of us has heard about being in the zone. And when you're in the zone, it almost feels as if you're a surfer looking to surf the wave. And so most of us are trying to force our outcome on the markets. We're trying to say, all right, now it's hit the bottom, so now it's going to go up. Who are we to say now when it's time to go up or down? And this is what psychophysiology teaches you. It teaches you to essentially let go of control. Because as humans, we like to have control. But it's an illusion. It doesn't exist. The illusion of control is perpetual. And so this is what psychophysiology does, is that it instills in you a state of mind that you recognize that you cannot control price, so therefore you're going to have a methodology as best as you can, because sometimes even the best planned trades go wrong, and that's part of the game. But the strength that it gives you is that you don't give up the moment it goes wrong. You don't blast yourself, or you don't start doubting yourself. And that's where the real reward comes from. It comes from a sense of, all right, this is part of the game. And now you go to bed, you do the exact same routine. You wake up in the morning, and the next morning you take the same shot again. And by taking one shot a day, you instill yourself such a discipline that, and Ken, that's an excellent question. As far as a person, I went from completely being disorganized, unfocused, and just all over the place, whereas now I have confidence that I can plan even in real life. Not necessarily just in trading. I can plan things very properly. I can be organized. I can be disciplined. And so that's the beauty of psychophysiology, is that even though I'm still a break-even trader, that's still very good in terms of how I used to perform before. But I know that with psychophysiology, it's the only thing that gives me confidence that I can achieve an 80% winning rate. But it's what happened in the rest of my life as well, where, before I would want to follow others. How many of us want to be appreciated by others and, do things that are against us? Whereas now, I very well know what is in line with me and what is not true to me. And that's the beauty of the program. And that's the beauty of what happened through psychophysiology. So it's not just trading. It surpasses trading. But as far as a trader, because of course that's what we're talking about here today, as far as a trader, no matter what time it takes you, it is, in my honest opinion, and I say this very humbly, it is the only way that we can achieve an 80% consistent winning rate today as human traders. And I hope that, I've talked for quite a bit here. Thank you everyone for listening, by the way. It's always quite a challenge, to be going through this, because it's a professional challenge. I'm still in it, and And yeah, I hope I've been able to inspire at least one person today to take on what is it that they love, to listen to that small voice inside of us. I want this to be the takeaway for today, honestly. And I'm looking forward to your questions. Of course, James, I love your questions. If anyone's going to be listening to this recording, I'd love to hear your questions as well. And this is the important thing to take away for today. A few lessons that I'd like to remain is that it's very, very important to surround ourselves with the right people. I'd like to say, find your Ken. I call Ken well, he is my mentor. And anytime I feel doubt, anytime I feel not sure of myself, he's always a phone call or an email away. And you've got to find a person with whom you can confide in just as well, because this is a tough bet. It's not easy. This is tough. And it is going to be a lot of self-doubt. It is going to be a lot of self-questioning. But if this is something that resonates with you as you're hearing me talk, and this resonates with you because you're thinking, man, I'm tired of, losing in trading, or I'm tired of being an okay trader, I want to take it to the next level. Well, this is what psychophysiology is all about. And second thing that I'd like everyone to take away is that it's very important to listen to our small, soft voices. These are the voices that are what we call the intuition. These are the voices that guide you towards what we need to do as a person. There's no amount of analysis, or there's no amount of of opinions that we can get that will be as strong as our own. So it's very important. And yes, tell us one of our best trades. Well, actually, this is a very good point. I'm going to go ahead and going to pull up my spreadsheet that I have here, because yeah, pull up. Hold on. Oh, you guys get to see all my emails.
Yeah.
Well, these are my actual stats, and I'll throw it out there just so you guys know what it looks like, and so you know that this is real. This is all done every single day. There's a routine, so you know that I'm not here to tell you that it's possible or not. As you can see, I'm break even for today. So this is now 66 trades. There were days where it took a little bit more than one trade, and that's normal. It's still human, but a lot less than before. As you can see, most of the days I'll take only one trade. Actually, I'd say probably 90% of the days I'll take only one trade. And this is the power of psychophysiology. It's not as much as, oh, I'm this special human being. No, it's really about being able to discipline yourself to only take one shot a day. And as you can see, every single day there's only one shot. And I'm going to show a good trade. I mean, there's been a few where I literally planned the bottom and sold the top, or rather planned the bottom and sold for 10. And the state that you're in when you plan these trades, you are silent. You are really entering into, the moment. I'd like to call this the moment before. So let's say we have thoughts in our head right now as you're listening to this. Well, this is a thought. Well, the next moment you're having a thought, there's a small gap. That small gap is that silent moment. If we take just a moment to appreciate that small gap between one thought and another, that's exactly the state that we're aiming for as traders under psychophysiology, and that's the state that we are wanting to achieve during the routine, during the planning, because the planning takes 45 minutes, and under these 45 minutes, here's a good trade. Wasn't exactly the top that I shorted, but as you can see, the white line is where I entered, and so white line here, and that was at 1450. And by the way, I trade the Euro USD. I'm on Forex. This is a live environment, and as you can see, it went all the way down to my take profit. The green line is my take profit. So we're talking a distance of roughly 30 34 pips roughly. Yes, 34 pips, and that was done in a matter of 10 minutes. So, and this is just one trade. I've had other trades where, again, the top was planned or vice versa. Here's another one. As you can see, white line is where I got in, and big pop, and that's when it reversed, went straight one to my resistance line, and that's when it reversed. All I want to show is that these trades are possible, and it's not luck. You know, all of us are looking to go for that top, that bottom. It's not like I'm sitting here and thinking, all right, today I'm going to aim for the top. No, because you get into a zone, and when you get into the zone, you're making complete silence of what's happening out there and just listening to what's happening inside. Not as much as listening to the voice, but listening to your own body as your own body tells you where you need to place the resistance line. So the support lines and the resistance lines. There's no, when I trade, there's no, I mean, you saw, again, I'll show a picture. As you can see, there's no moving averages. There's nothing. It's very plain, very simple. And that's the beauty of it. Because when we tend, a lot of the guys in the industry, what they do, they'll have, moving averages, and they'll have Elliott wave theory. And for some it'll work. For some people it will work. But the more you overload your mind with things, the less concentrated you are on what's actually happening in front of you. And that's the important thing that's being taught in psychophysiology, is that you want to put yourself into a state where you're perpetually concentrating, perpetually under what we call the zone. So the athletes out there will relate to that, and we're all able to get into that state. Oh, got a big phone call.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, all right.
I was going to ask, Lev, what time frame is that you're trading on?
This is excellent question there. So this is essentially a 5-minute time chart. So I'm trading the 5-minute chart. This is all 5 minute. This is all done. Usually, as you can see, sometimes I enter a position at 8:30 and 10 seconds later on field. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, where it can take up to 2 hours. But I'd say almost 100% of all my position, the exit times have all been before 12, except this one. This one has been after 12. And the rest, however, as you can see, we get in at 8:30, sometimes earlier, and we leave always before 10 a.m. So what this does is that you take your trade, you put all your concentration and all your focus into one trade, and this is it. This is your day. At the office, at FCL, they're always surprised about how I leave the office early, and that's understandable because these guys are staying until 4 p.m., until market close. What this does is that you become oversaturated. You don't function as well anymore. And to be a peak performing trader, you need to put all your focus into one trade. So already to do, it's like saying, all right, you know what? Today I'm going to be doing 100 push-ups. But if you haven't done 100 push-ups in forever, doing 100 push-ups a day is, sure, you might get it through, power of will and through hard work. But then if I tell you, all right, let's do these 100 push-ups every single day for the next year, that's going to be tough. But if I told you all you had to do was do one push-up a day, and then next week you'll go 2 push-ups a day, and then so on and so forth, you start increasing the load, so being consistent, you start to build that confidence that, all right, so if I can trade one trade successfully, then I'm confident about taking a second one. But if you're not comfortable taking one trade and being successful at it 80% of the time, there's absolutely no point in making more trades, because it's like doing more push-ups when your body's tired. Do the one push-up that you can do well, so do one trade that you can do well, and the rest will come. And Ken, that's an excellent question. In terms of being tired, there were times where I was really exhausted, and even the guys were laughing like, "All right, this is your day off, like you're done." And it's true because you're sitting, and when you breathe, you're, how can I explain this? I put an image on that. It's like imagine you're staring at a wall and we're telling you to stare at that wall for whatever amount of time and to be extremely focused on that wall. Now, you can imagine the intensity that this requires. And it's the same thing here. So we're telling you, all right, now you're going to start to breathe through your abdomen and you're going to start focusing on what's happening with price. So you start to, like imagine a surfer waiting for the wave to come to him. You're waiting for that wave to come. And so it takes immense precision. You want to be like a sniper. You don't want to be, sure, if you have a machine gun and you start shooting, then you'll end up hitting the target. But if you want to be a sharpshooter and you got only one bullet in your gun, this is the shot you want to take. This is the shot that's going to bring food to the table. This is the shot that's going to, yeah, that's going to bring food to the table. So you want to be extremely focused, and it's not a matter of, oh, you know, this shot is all right, but the second one will be better. No, this is your one and only shot. And whether it's a loss or a win, you pack your things, you go home, you reset, and do the same thing over and over again. So it's very, very regimental, very disciplined, but any of us can do it because I come from far. I came from, again, being all completely unfocused and undisciplined to being very focused, very disciplined, and all of us can do it. And as far as what is more tiring, a winning trade or a losing, is there a difference? That's actually a very good question. That's a very good question. What is more tiring, a winning trade or a losing trade? Is there a difference? Um, there is a difference. Man, I'd say in terms of work that you put in, so focus remains the same. As far as a winning trade or a losing trade, do negative emotions make you feel more tired? Well, yes, that's a definite. You know, when you gotta lose in trade, that's when all your demons come out, right? Because that's when that's that's the beauty of being a trader is that the markets are a reflection of how you are. So of course, if we lose, and then you hear all that self-talk, which I'm sure we've all been through, like, oh, you shouldn't trade, you shouldn't be doing that. Why did you do that, stupid? And this is normal because this is, you know, out of programming from childhood. And by the way, this is one thing you get to learn a lot about how you program yourself ever since childhood with psychophysiology. So yes, of course, you're definitely more tired with a losing trade because of all the challenging thoughts that are coming your way. In that you, as a peak performing trader, you got to work with that and be like, all right, well, this is part of the game. You know, like let's say today I'm break even and tomorrow I'll still go ahead and go to the floor. And that's the thing is that instead of giving up, instead of being, well, you know, maybe this is not for me, you still got that small voice in you which is telling you, but what if? I mean, I actually want to be a trader. So again, it's going back to that small voice which is telling you, but I can. And as long as you got that voice, it's to listen to that voice, and that's the most important thing. So yes, losing trades are obviously part of the game, and as a as a trader trained under psychophysiology, you're going to be very much aware of these thoughts, and you're going to be able to work with them instead of resisting them and being like, oh, but no, don't think about that, don't think about that. Obviously, what you resist persists. How important and how hard is it to keep your feet on the ground after a really good trade in the string of winning trade? Excellent question. I think we've all experienced a streak of winning trades. I can just show, for instance, let's say this was a good streak. I had one, two, three, four, say almost five. This was a break-even trade, but that I think turned out to be well. So yes, it's very tough because what happens is when you start to get a winning streak like I got here, this was a very good week where I was either break even or winning. You start to become complacent. You start to become very confident. And what psychophysiology does is that it helps you ground yourself and helps you tell yourself, all right, I may have been a winner up until now, but tomorrow is another day. The market never remembers. It doesn't care if yesterday you lost. It doesn't care if yesterday you just made $1 million. It's still going to do exactly what it wants to do, which is like the ocean. I like to compare the market to the ocean. So when you're trading, picture yourself as a surfer. Picture yourself as someone who wants to surf the wave, and the market is the ocean. It's foolish to think that we can control the ocean, right? So why do we think we can control the markets? It's the same thing here. It is bigger than us, and our job as traders is to learn to listen to the markets rather than impose our will on the markets. And what about self-sabotage? Oh, very prevalent. I still practice it very much, and I did it today as well. Despite having gone through all of that, it's still very prevalent. And the self-sabotage, what happens is sometimes um, we tend to project. Are you an expert? Yes, I'm definitely an expert. Yes, I'm definitely an expert in self-sabotaging in terms of projecting my fears onto the markets. I realized I had many fears when I came into the game. I realized I had a fear of making money because I thought money was bad. And so because money is bad, obviously, I don't want to consider myself as being bad. So what do? I take losing trades. And that happens during the planning process because as soon as the shot is taken, it doesn't matter anymore. The shot is taken, so it doesn't matter if we're, oh my God, please go up, or oh my God, please go down. It doesn't matter anymore. No amount of screaming or no amount of yelling will affect the price. And that's the important thing, is that it is during the planning process that everything must be done very carefully and must be done with the right state of mind. And like you say, Ken, it is true. I definitely practice. Still today, I practice self-sabotage, and I practice it quite a bit, to be honest with you. And it's okay. It's perfectly okay because it's part of the process. And, I'm saying this, and I'm reminding myself as well that, again, it is through the planning process that everything happens. Because once your shot is taken, then that's it. You're surfing the wave, and whether it crashes with you or you flow with it, that's because of your planning. So yeah, another point to take away is to plan your trades. Plan your trades. Know when you enter a position. Know when you leave a position. As much as possible, leave nothing to chance. Leave nothing to chance. I know some of the guys use trailing stops, and they can make a living off of it, which is fine. But then you leave yourself to potential stress. And what you want to do with, again, psychophysiology as a trader, you want to eliminate stress as much as possible. So you just want to be focused for a short amount of time and then reset completely. So you remove yourself from the markets, reset, come back into a state where, all right, today's another day. Today is competition day. I'm going to sprint. No matter what happened yesterday, I'm taking the shot again, and so on and so forth. So it's extremely important to be in the right state of mind during the planning. The planning is what counts. The rest is really irrelevant. And always follow your plan. Even if it's a shitty plan, take the shot, because what this does is build confidence in your plan. And the more you start following your plan, the more you start believing in yourself. And yeah, yeah, Ken, you said it very well. There are three phases of being a trader that everyone goes through: being a losing trader, being a break-even trader, and being a profitable trader. So I'm right about it being a break-even trader. I look forward to the day I can be a profitable trader, and there's nothing else I would do, quite honestly, in my life right now, because I'm halfway through the process and even a bit more. And I wish everyone who's going to take this path. I look forward also to the Peak Performing Trader webinar that I think you, Derek, planned as well, where I talk more about how um, what are the requirements of being a peak performing trader. And indeed, each phase requires change, personal change. Before, as a losing trader, with all my thoughts about, money being bad, or about how the markets are rigged and how it's a casino. Going from that state to a state of, all right, today I can confidently say that if you give me money, you won't lose money. Now I can't say you'll make money, but at least I'll say that you won't lose money. And that's powerful, because it's not to the state where, I'll give you money, you might lose it, you might win. No, it's you've just upped yourself. And this I've achieved through psychophysiology. I've achieved this through the work that was done on myself. So I know that, as a matter of fact, right now I won't lose money, and that's beautiful. And anyone can achieve it. Truly, anyone. And trust me, I come from far to be able to say this. I've lost probably. Listen, I've lost. Well, at 18 years old, of course, this is a lot of money. So I went from $1,000. I made all the way to up to 5,000. My friend took a share, and then I lost it all. And then I would dump some money some more. So I think in total I lost roughly probably 6 or 7, and probably 10K in the markets. I know some of you guys. I know a trader that was in a meter group. He lost up to 100K. So of course that's very, very uh, relative for everyone. For me, 10K was a lot. It was enough to completely destroy my self-esteem and that. And it's through persistence, through hard work, that I came from becoming a losing trader to a break-even trader, and eventually becoming a consistently profitable trader. How long it will take, I can tell you guys, but I'm looking forward to the webinar where I can say, listen, guys, this was done, and that this webinar was just a stepping stone until I reached the phase of being a consistently profitable trader. Yeah.
That's excellent, Lev.
Thank you.